Should investors worry about Meta platforms serving more and more ads in Instagram and on Facebook? Is this something that will cause users to steer clear of the platform and something that will annoy them, something that will impact advertiser performance on the platform negatively in terms of brand recall and purchasing intent? Is this indeed the case? Should investors be worried? Well, remember after the last quarterly earnings when Facebook served up great numbers. They beat on revenue, they had good profitability, and stock price has absolutely been soaring for Meta. It's not just the discontinuation of VR, it's also these great numbers. However, a little storm cloud on the horizon after the earnings report was this worry from institutional investors regarding advertising saturation, potentially not only bad for users. Maybe brands will also pull back from advertising on the platform as a result of negative impact on performance. Is this the case? Well, let's cover it today. I think this is not something for investors to worry about, and I will tell you exactly why. In my day-to-day, I work in Google selling ads, and in my thesis that I did from the education, I also wrote about the effects of something called clutter on native advertising in social media. This is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. So with some background in research and some background in practical knowledge regarding advertising and the advertising industry, let's go over this question and answer it today in this video. Alright, so regarding clutter and an increasing amount of ads plaguing social media feeds, this is not something new. This has been around for a long time. It's been studied by a lot of sources. I read a ton of material regarding this back in the day. But when I did my own study into this area, I asked 152 participants, and when they did this quantitative survey, I divided 4 different feeds. So I would create an artificial Instagram feed, just piecing together pictures and ads, and the only variable between these 4 different feeds would be the amount of ads. So there would be some feeds with fewer ads, a feed with exactly the amount of ads that was currently being served on the platform. I think it was 5 pictures and then 1 ad back in 2018, and then a feed with more ads, so a more saturated feed. We would have respondents look at, they would each get 1 feed, it would be randomized, and they didn't know that other feeds existed. And then we would ask typical questions that would be asked when, for example, marketers are doing a brand lift or a search lift survey or something like this, to see the impact on advertising. Do the person recall seeing an ad from this brand, for example? And in this case, we thought that, all right, the more ads that will be served, the less happy the user will be regarding the experience of the platform, but also brand recall will indeed suffer. However, when I did this study to look at how this whole ordeal would affect users, would affect brand recall, etc., I found that something very interesting happened. And let's start with user happiness first, because it's important for users to spend a ton of time on the platforms. Then they can be served more ads, it can generate more profitability. Social media platforms, they put a ton of research and a ton of capital into making sure that users stay on their platform for longer. So that's why we're starting with this finding, because it's so important. And when I did this study, I thought that, all right, 5 ads in the feed, very saturated, that's gonna be the worst one. However, what we found in terms of preference was that the feed that was most liked by users was the one that was the quote-unquote normal feed. The one with 5 pictures and then one ad, 5 pictures, then one ad. Just what was currently being shown on the platform. And this one was more popular than less ads even. So it beat out a less cluttered feed. Why is this? Well, I think that in terms of, as humans, we prefer familiarity. We like to see things that, things are like they always been. We prefer this familiarity, this safety. It gives us some sense of security. So as users on social media, I think that we adapt to current saturation level of ads on the platform, and an increase in the amount of ads, such as we've seen by Meta today going forward with more and more ads on the feed, will be annoying first, not because of it's more ads, but because it's a break from what's normal. It used to be 4 pictures then an ad, and now it's 3 pictures then an ad. This is not normal anymore. We're reacting to this break in pattern from what used to be. It's not a negative reaction per se to more ads, just, all right, something's not as it always has been. And I think that as time goes on, we will get used to this. It will be normalized once again. So this new higher saturated level of ads will be the new normal, and I don't think users will worry about it at all. So I think that investor worries regarding this is overhyped, and I think that it's just some bearish sentiment and it will pass in due time. But what about brand recall? This is important for advertisers. Will brand recall suffer from an increasing saturation of advertising? Well, in the study that I did back in the days, I didn't find any evidence that an increasing amount of ads will make it more and more difficult for people to recall, the brands. And from day-to-day working experience, I think that from speaking to a lot of advertisers that are doing a tons of studies themselves, it's just the frequency of the ads and the fact that, the customer is seeing it more and more times that tends to increase brand recall. They tend to need to see it quite a few times before actually remembering. So in terms of brand recall, it can indeed be a positive thing. And I don't think that advertisers need to worry about more clutter in the social media feed. I think that investors are always going to worry about things, always going to worry about changes. But if there's one thing that investors should worry about, it's the decreasing prices of the ads on Meta. In the case of Meta going forward, well, if they're able to overcome some of the challenges in the industry regarding tracking and measurements, and they're able to clearly show results to advertisers, well, then they will be able to increase prices more. However, if they're slow on overcoming and adapting to regulation and changes in the marketplace, well, then I think that prices will continue to drop as advertisers will have a more difficult time seeing the actual benefit from advertising on Meta. All right, that's been it, covering these investors' worries about increasing amount of ads in the feeds. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more takes on stocks. I have some time off now here in December, so I will have a lot of time to make more videos, do more analysis, and hopefully find some interesting investing opportunities for myself. That's been it for this video, and as always, hope you guys make a ton of money, whatever investments you decide to make. Take care now. Bye bye.